Hi guys, Andreas here from Jumper Namibia. Today I'll be showing you how to edit and save this video.
Do you know what POV is? POV is an acronym for point of view perspective. It's an attitude of how one sees or thinks of something.
Now imagine you were someone else. What would that look like?
Imagine you could be someone else by simply using your phone and this device right here.
At Jumper Namibia, we provide informational and instructional videos and good services.
We are looking for business owners and professionals who want to market their products and services in a more engaging way. Do you know someone? Do you?
Alright, what you need to do first is head on to our Google Drive folder and you want to download the Jumper Namibia transition shoot tutorial folders, and these are the files that you will be using to edit the video. Once you're done with the download, the second thing that you want to do is head on to the folder where you downloaded the videos and audios, and you would drag them to Adobe Premiere Pro. The reason why we use Adobe Premiere Pro is because we find it easier to edit with, but of course you can use any editing program of your preference to edit your videos. But in this tutorial video we'll be using Adobe Premiere Pro. What you do now is drag the videos to the timeline and have them all in one line. You then head on to the audios and do the same thing. So now that you have all the videos and all the audios on the timeline, what you want to do is separate the audio that you recorded with the sound recorder and have it under the audio that's recorded with a camera. What we did is record with a lapel mic because we wanted to have better sound as opposed to the sound that comes from the camera, which is this one here. So what you do is just drag all of them and bring them down. And what you need to do now is synchronize the audios with the videos. What I usually do is start with the first one, the first audio, and synchronize it with the second audio. It's easy for me because all of these videos are aligned chronologically, and I know that this first video is the same with this audio. So what you want to do here is select both audios and videos, and you would right click and look for synchronize. Once this appears, you make sure that it's on audio, and all you need to do now is press OK. And as you see, it automatically snaps onto the same waveform that this audio from the camera is. So it puts it in the same length for you to be able to use only the audio that's coming from the sound recorder. So what I then do is I'll trim out the unneeded part, and what you need to do is basically go to the edge of the audio until this red icon appears, and you just drag and you clip it to the end of the video. Then you do the same with the beginning part as well. So now this video is synchronized with the audio, and this is basically how it would sound like with the camera audio.
And action.
Do you know what POV is? POV is an acronym for point of view perspective.
And this is how it would sound with the audio recorder.
Do you know what POV is? POV is an acronym for point of view perspective.
As you can see, the audio that's recorded with the sound recorder is more dominant in terms of close range as opposed to recording audio with the camera. So I would always suggest to use a lapel mic to record your audio with, or any other sound recorder for the audio to pick up the person that's talking and brush out the surrounding sound. So what we do now is head on to the next video. This is long because we had a lot of takes. So what you do is move these ones away, and you do the same thing where you select and drag all audios and video, and you right click and synchronize. And then again, what you do is clip it to the end and the beginning. And then you want to move it this side to be next to the one that you already synchronized first. So this video here has 2 characters in the video, and our challenge was that we only had one lapel mic to work with, so we couldn't really attach the audio on both characters. And what we did then is re-record the voices. This was what we will be working on last. So what you want to do is just drag this to the side and have it next to the second video that you synchronized. And then the last video would then be this clip here. Actually, it's this one here. And you do the same thing again. And then clip it to the beginning and end, and move it to the third video. Alright, we have our video synchronized with the audio, and the next thing to do now is to trim. So there are 2 buttons that you need to remember. The first button is I for inside, and O for outside. Another thing that we enjoy about Adobe Premiere Pro is the fact that it automatically saves your project, so you don't have to save it yourself. Alright, so what you do then is go to the second and first video, and you want to see where you start your video and see where you want to trim your video.
Do you know what POV is?
So before she starts to talk, that's where I would trim the video. So you go somewhere close here, and what you do now is remember the I and O. So O is for outside and I is for inside. And since now you would want to trim this area out, you press O for outside, and it would highlight from the right facing the left. And what you do now is press extract, and then it deletes. So this saves you a lot of time to edit quickly, and it also makes it easier for you to finish your job quickly. Now what you do is head to the last part where she finishes off. So what we did here is use transition shooting, where if she has to cross this pole here, it's another person. So what you want to do is see where it would blend in well with the next video, which is EB here, who's going to be in the second video. And you would find where EB starts to walk after the pole. So it's somewhere here. So if you saw how Comfort ended and you see how EB is starting, you would then find the spot where you want to trim out. So I'm going to press O, and then I'm going to go back to Comfort to see where she ended. So somewhere here, and then I press I, and then I press extract. So now I'm going to play it to see if it blends in well. And to press play, you can either press here or you can just press the space bar. As you can see, it blends in well. So now I'm satisfied with this shot, and I would now move on to the next one. So what we did here is do a block transition where if this clears, it's another person. And now here we're gonna press I, and then we're gonna move to the next video where he appears, John, and blend it in as well. So another thing that we use to move front and back is either the arrows, the left and right arrows, or you can simply press here to blend in the two, or to see where the keyframe is going to be. Here I would then press O and then extract. And this also blends in well. So now over here we have two characters, John and Kumbe. And Kumbe would then have the block here as well. And then when Jerry appears in the next video, you would also want to start with Jerry after he crosses the pole. So I'll press O, and then I'll go back to Kumbe to where she ends off, and then I'll press I, and then extract. So now that I blended all my videos in and they're working well, I would then work on this final part here. So what we did was re-record John and Kumbe's audios together, and that's why it's so important to plan out your shots properly, so you don't end up with problems like this when you have to go edit the videos. So here we had to improvise, and what we did was then re-record their audios, which is these two audio recordings that we selected here. And I'm just going to play them and see which one is which. I'm sure this one is John. Right, so I would drag this all the way to where John is talking. Okay, so since the gap is small, I would then just cut it shorter and drag it to where he's talking. So it's a bit tricky because the audio and video sound is not the same. So we're going to have to look at his mouth and see where he's going to start talking, and then hopefully find a perfect balance between the audio and the video. So I'm going to play now.
Imagine you could be someone else by simply using your phone and this device right here.
So as you can see, it's not properly synchronized yet. So what you would do is just play around and find the spot.
By simply using your phone and this device right here.
And there we go. So that's John's audio. And now what we need to do is find Kumbe's audio. So Kumba's audio
I was saying,
is a bit long, so we're gonna look for the spot where she starts to talk.
Hey, it's the same way.
yeah.
Oh my god, this is very hard.
She's saying it's very hard.
Okay, you know what? Let's just.
Yeah, okay. So do it again.
At Jumper Namibia, we provide informational and at Jumper Namibia.
So it's this one here.
At Jumper.
So if you want to quickly just slice in between, you go onto the slicer, onto the razor tool, or you can press C, and this icon would appear, and then you just press, you just select the middle part where you want to split the two audios, and you then press V or go back to the selection tool, and you select this part that you don't need and delete it, and then you then move Kumbe's audio to where she's talking. So this is where she starts.
At Jumper Namibia, we provide informational and instructional videos and good services.
So she spoke a bit quicker in this part, and in the video she spoke slowly. So this is where you have to improvise and try to blend the videos in with the audio. And the only thing I can do now is basically trim where she's talking and space out the audios. So I'm going to have a listen.
Jumper Namibia, we provide.
So after she says we provide, I would then space out the audio. So I'm going to press C, select that, press V, and then move this audio.
Informational and instructional videos.
Okay, so I'm going to space this out again after she says videos.
And good services.
Okay, so I'm going to look at her mouth.
And good services.
So this is where she starts to say "and good services." So I would move the audio here.
And good services.
We are looking for business.
Alright, and then if I have to play it again,
Imagine you could be someone else by simply using your phone and this device right here.
At Jumper Namibia, we provide informational and instructional videos and good services.
We are looking for business owners and professionals who want to market their product.
so since now there's a gap here, I can either just leave it, or I could trim this part and bring it bring it closer. I'll press O here and extract.
Videos and good services.
So now that's the challenge that I would have with the video, because now it's not flowing properly anymore. There's a huge difference between where she's here and where she's walking here. So that wouldn't be a good suggestion, and the only thing I can do now is just let it play and have this part here where she's talking, and there's no video where she's talking. So now the only thing that we're left with is the soundtrack. The soundtrack that we use for this video is called Two Face by Cosmic, and what you do is just drag it under, and you see where you want to start to play the audio.
Do you know what POV is? POV is an acronym for point of view perspective. It's an attitude of how one sees or thinks of something.
Alright, so I would have my audio, like here you can already see that this is where the beat drops, so I would want to have it here where the transition starts, over there, and then just stretch that out and have it start wherever it needs to.
Do you know what POV is? POV is an acronym for point of view perspective. It's an attitude of how one sees or thinks of something.
Now imagine you were someone else. What would that look like?
Alright. So now the last thing to do before you save is just balance off the audios and see if they blend in well. And what I usually do is bring the soundtrack down so the audio of the person talking can be more dominant than the sound.
Now imagine you were someone else.
Right, and that's perfect. And you then just trim out the part that you don't need, because if you have to save this without trimming the end part out, you basically end up saving this part as well. It's not necessarily like that, but the good thing to do is trim that out and have the audio fade out. So what you do is go to effects, you would go to audio transitions, and press on crossfade and exponential fade, and you drag and drop it to this part here, and to then fade out the video. So especially this part that I left out where the video finishes, you'd want to see where you would have the video finishing, and I would bring it here just so the video can be shorter. Over here we have 50 seconds in the video, and this is how long the video basically is. It's less than a minute, and it makes it good for Instagram, and you could also trim it into 2 parts and upload it on WhatsApp. Sometimes I would also put a fade to black on the video, and to get that you would go to video transition, you press on dissolve, and you would click and drag, dip to black, and place it at the end of the video for it to fade out. And then we have our video stitched together, and now we just save it. So before you press on save, you would select O so we can highlight the area where you want to export the video, because sometimes you would be having other videos that you didn't stitch together in the timeline, and if you have to save them, it will also save the unneeded videos. And what you basically just do is select Control and press M for you to export the video. So this would appear, but then another way that you can export the video is simply by pressing File, Export, and Media. As you can see here, it has like shortcuts. It's just that mine is a Mac, so it will show the command icon here, but usually it will be Control if you're using a Windows computer. And you then select Media and make sure that it's either on high bitrate or medium bitrate. I usually go for medium bitrate because it's the videos that we save and export are for social media, as opposed to it being 61 megabyte, we would have it on 90 megabytes. And then you select here by output name and see where you would want to save your video. Since this is the tutorial video, I'm going to save it in tutorial videos and name it whatever you want to, or label it tutorial. And the last step is then pressing export, and there you have your video. And I think the most important thing to just remember is always align your videos first before editing, and also to make sure that you use proper audio for the video, because if your video is good and the audio is bad, then your whole video is bad. And yeah, it's all a matter of just practicing how to edit and telling a story with the editing that you do. And also a thing that would help an editor is by creating a storyboard first before you even film the video that you're going to shoot, because the last thing you want to do is end up stressing over things that you forgot to record, or spending hours recording something because you didn't plan it out. So planning before editing is always important. This was a tutorial video for a shoot that we had recently, and let us see how you edit this video and tag us in the upload. I hope you enjoy, and see you next time.